Hello, welcome to the platform of Chronicle IAS. My name is Prakash Upadhyay. I am the Faculty of Geography, Environment and Ecology and Disaster Management at Chronicle IAS. In the series of continuation of UP-PCS paper 6, test number 18, now we are going to deal the question of Geography, Environment and Ecology. Look at the question without wasting of any time. The question number 6, how Uttar Pradesh is planning how Uttar Pradesh is planning to achieve energy security through the renewable energy sources. क्या कह रहा है कि उत्तर प्रदेश नवीकरणीय ऊर्जा स्रोतों के माध्यम से ऊर्जा सुरक्षा प्राप्त करने की योजना कैसे बना रहा है. कह रहा है कि बताइए हाउ उत्तर प्रदेश इज प्लानिंग टू अचीव एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी थ्रू द रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी सोर्सेज. ओके, हाउ वी कैन अप्रोच दिस क्वेश्चन. कैसे अप्रोच कर सकते हैं इस क्वेश्चन को. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द नेचर ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द नेचर ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. What is the nature of the question? Question demands some data and facts, and question also demands understanding about the renewable energy sources. Question demands about the renewable energy sources and some data and facts. Okay, now how we can address this question in a very proper manner. Question asks about how Uttar Pradesh is planning to achieve energy security through renewable energy. It means this question tells us UP have largest population and day by day its energy consumption increases. Day by day its energy consumption increases. So to meet the demand, to meet the demand of the people of UP should plan to shift its focus from non-renewable sources like coal-based energy to the renewable energy. So this kind of intro you have to write down कि UP have largest population and day by day its energy consumption increases. To meet the demand of the people of UP should plan to shift its focus from non-renewable sources like coal-based energy sources towards the renewable energy. Okay, now you have to just make a circle of the sources of renewable energy in UP. What kind of renewable energy? The first thing of renewable energy is the energy from solar. So solar energy is the best way to produce renewable energy. Second one is the bio energy which came from the waste. The third one is green hydrogen energy. Green hydrogen energy. Fourth one is a wind energy. And fifth one is a geothermal energy. These are the main source of energy, renewable energy in UP. But now you have to look at the data. The wind energy capacity, of UP is very much limited because of its geographical limitation. Geothermal energy sources in UP is also very much limited. Green hydrogen energy is also very minimal, so that the main focus to achieve its target from the non-renewable energy towards the renewable energy is basically focusing on the solar energy capacity as well as the bioenergy production. Now it has been clear that it will be clear that the main focus of the UP is producing and achieving the renewable energy and self-sufficient state in context of energy. It means UP have more focus on solar energy scheme as well as the focus on bioenergy, because UP have its limit to extend and increase its production in these remaining source of renewable energy. Okay, now we are moving towards the another part of the question, that how UP address this. In the main body of the question, UP's renewable, according to the UP's renewable policy, UP's target, what is the target of UP's? UP's target is 22,000 megawatt energy production in 2026 to 27. This is the data which is known as state solar policy targets. And the second one is, in this UP is 14,000 megawatt energy. 14,000 megawatt energy is based on utility scale. Now you have to put it some data like 1.5 gigawatt. 1.5 gigawatt is residential rooftop. Residential rooftop. And you can say that 4.5 gigawatt and 1.5 gigawatt is for non-residential rooftop. Okay, now the next scheme is solar parks and utility solar projects. You have to mention solar parks. UP planned for the solar park. 17 solar park is, you can say that, estimated. 17 solar park is estimated in UP. Okay. The third one is on the utility scale, and third one is you have to mention Mata Tila Dam, Mata Tila डैम एज वेल. इसमें आप माता टीला डैम के बारे में भी बता सकते हो. नेक्स्ट क्या बता सकते हैं हम इसमें बता सकते हैं रूफटॉप स्कीम्स, लाइक द टारगेट ऑफ रूफटॉप इंस्टॉलेशन ऑफ solar panels is 8 lakh, but at this point UP achieved 3 lakh rooftop installation. ये भी आप डेटा उसमें दे सकते हैं, जिसमें अब ये अंडर द स्कीम ऑफ पीएम सूर्यघर योजना. ओके, नाउ द सोलर सिटीज एंड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. यू हैव टू मेंशन solar cities. We all are know that the UP's focus on developing the solar cities. Solar cities develop कैसे करेंगे? तो अयोध्या is the first solar city will be. हो सकता है ना, उसके लिए गवर्नमेंट काम कर रही है. ठीक, और क्या कर सकते हैं भाई अचीव करने के लिए? modernizing its solar storage potential. In the off-peak seasons, there is a issue of the storage, so UP is focusing to enhance its solar storage potential and mechanize. Second one is grid modernization. We have to also mention grid modernization. Okay, now we are moving towards the some of the scheme like PM Kusum, integrate the agriculture as well as the सोलर पोटेंशियल. सोलर एनर्जी को इंटीग्रेट कर रहे हैं हम एग्रीकल्चर में. एक सब्सिडाइज फॉर्म में हम जो है सोलर पैनल, सोलर पंप, ये सब प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं ताकि जो फार्मर्स हैं वो सस्टेनेबल हो पाए और उसका ग्रोथ, उसका पर कैपिटा इनकम बढ़े. ओके, नाउ वी आर मूविंग टुवर्ड्स दी बायो एनर्जी. what is the source of bioenergy? तो बायोएनर्जी का सोर्स क्या है? तो बायोएनर्जी का सोर्स है, अगर हम देखें तो बायोएनर्जी का सोर्स वेस्ट है. अब बायोएनर्जी के लिए एक पॉलिसी है, बायोएनर्जी पॉलिसी 2022. अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस पॉलिसी the UP's government is focusing to enhance the bioenergy capacity in UP. So bioenergy. थर्ड हम क्या कर सकते हैं? You have to also mention विंड एनर्जी. तो बता सकते हो कि यूपी हैव सम लिमिटेड एरियाज फॉर द विंड एनर्जी पोटेंशियल, विच इज बेसिकली इन द एरियाज ऑफ विंध्यन रेंज एंड इन द एरियाज ऑफ बुंदेलखंड रेंज. तो बुंदेलखंड रीजन और विंध्यन रीजन के आसपास पोटेंशियल है. ठीक, तो नेक्स्ट क्या कर सकते हैं? हमने ये बताई दिया आपको पीएम कुसुम. इसके साथ साथ हम कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग, एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी आउटकम्स पर भी कुछ काम कर सकते हैं. कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग पे, बिकॉज वी हैव द स्टोरेज इशू. तो एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी आउटकम्स और हम कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट पर भी कुछ लिख सकते हैं अगर आप लिखना चाहो तो. नेक्स्ट क्या हो सकता है? इसका कंक्लूजन क्या कर सकते हैं? व्हाट इज द कंक्लूजन ऑफ दिस क्वेश्चन? कंक्लूजन में ये लिख सकते हैं कि UP is very much focusing on its renewable policies as well as its implementation to achieve its target of self reliance in the energy sector. Okay, क्या कह सकते हैं? यूपी is very much focusing on its renewable policies as well as its implementation to achieve its target to self reliance in the energy security. तो इस तरह का आपको एक अप्रोच लेकर के चलना है। क्वेश्चन को ध्यान से पढ़ना है, क्वेश्चन में देखना है कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ नेचर क्वेश्चन हैव, व्हाट इज द डिमांड ऑफ द क्वेश्चन, हाउ वी कैन स्ट्रक्चर द क्वेश्चन। यहाँ पर हमने पूरा आंसर नहीं लिखा बिकॉज ऑफ द टाइम लिमिटेशन, क्योंकि आपको भी देखना है कि बहुत ज्यादा टाइम टेकन ना हो। ठीक, थैंक यू। नाउ आई एम गोइंग टू deal the questions of UP Special, UP Geography, Environment and Ecology. Look at the question. How has population growth affected resource distribution and governance in उत्तर प्रदेश? क्या कह रहा है? उत्तर प्रदेश में जनसंख्या वृद्धि ने संसाधनों के वितरण और शासन को किस प्रकार प्रभावित किया है? तो क्वेश्चन कह रहा है कि हाउ हैज द पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ। ओके, look at this question, and firstly we are going to find out what is the demand of the question. Question का demand क्या है? तो कह रहा है question what is the demand of the question. What is the demand of the question? Question is how has population growth is affected, how has the population growth is affected the resource distribution of resources or the resource distribution and governance. Again, this question demands the holistic approach to address the issue of population growth and how population growth will impact the distribution of resources as well as the governance. So it demands connectivity. This question demands connectivity, how the population growth is hampering the distribution of resources and how the population growth is hampering the governance of UP. Okay. What will be the right approach to address? Firstly, we are going to write down the intro of this question. What kind of intro we can? We can start from database. We can start intro from database. According to the 2011 census, UP has become a most populous state, and that's why we cannot ignore the fact that the distribution of resources as well as the governance have a immense pressure because of the population. You can start like this. According to UP's, according to latest population data of 2011 census, UP has become the largest population state which hamper, or which will create immense pressure on distribution of resources, governance, as well as the socio-economic setting of UP. So now this is the intro. According to the latest population data of 2011 census, UP has become the largest population state, which will create immense pressure of distribution of resources, governance, as well as the socio-economic setting of UP. Now, in the next part of the question, or the main body, in the main body, we are going to only connect the thoughts how the population growth is impacting the distribution of resources. Suppose that we all know that UP have humongous population, and UP is carrying the largest population amongst all the states, and that's why the land holding size of UP is going to be decreased, because when the population has been increased, it means the land size goes on decreasing. Is it okay? And that's why per person ratio is below the 1 hectare in UP. The second one is agriculture. The agricultural land day by day is shrinking. Day by day, the agricultural land is shrinking. फिर क्या हो सकता है भाई? नेक्स्ट वन इज क्या हो सकता है? बिकॉज ऑफ द ओवर पॉपुलेशन, द क्वालिटी ऑफ लैंड इज गोज ऑन डिक्रीजिंग. इट मीन्स वी कैन से दैट लैंड डिग्रेडेशन which will create another issue of productivity, and it will lead to the condition of food insecurity. So land degradation or because of over exploitations. And you have to mention these. The third one is water resource. The second one is water resources. We all know that if the population increased more, then the exploitation of water resources. The first one is, with the population increase, then demand of drinking water increased. Not only the demand of drinking water increased, all type of using of water increased, like for the sanitation, like for the bathing, like for the agriculture. So the over exploitation of groundwater resources or the water resources led to the condition of water crisis. And that's why the humongous population which UP have, because of this reason, the water resources cannot be equally distributed. And on those conditions where the groundwater and the water availability is not available in every part of UP, then this condition will be more severe, because we all are know that the UP have humongous population. Okay, now the third one is energy resources. Energy resources. We all are know that UP have humongous population. It is not possible to provide equitable amount of access as well as equitable amount of energy supply to all. Energy supply to all. Energy supply to all. It is not possible. Yes or not? Why? Because we all are know that day by day the India became the now India has become the fourth largest economy, and UP is also the leading state. But day by day the demand of, because of climate change and because of the you can say that sustainable goals, because of the sustainable goals, India as well as UP try to provide all the basic amenities to the peoples, but the population growth is far beyond our capacity and our limitation. Because of this, it is not possible at some extent to supply energy to all the peoples. And day by day the urban population has been increased, and where we are using the term urban population, it means urbanization demands all kind of facility. तो urbanization क्या demand करता है? All kind of facilities. The first demand of energy resources, like refrigerator चलाना है, washing machine चलाना है, AC चलाना है, सब कुछ चलाना, और सब कुछ कैसे चलेगा? एनर्जी से. तो एनर्जी शॉर्टेज हो सकता है. तो एनर्जी रिसोर्सेज, द क्राइसिस ऑफ एनर्जी रिसोर्सेज डिस्पाइट ऑफ UP is facing, and despite of UP is aggressively producing so much amount of energy, but because of population this will happen. Okay, now the fourth one is, you can say that food and nutrition. Food and nutrition. The fourth one is the food and nutrition. Food and nutrition. Food and nutrition. We all are know that day by day the population has been increased, and according to the United Nations population status, United Nations says that ki upcoming 2036 the UP's population is increasing so fast and it will cross 24 crore. तो imagine करो कि population और ज़्यादा हो गया. तो this is very challenging issue of supplying as well as feeding all the people of UP, all the people of UP, all the people of UP with feeding all the people of UP with nutritious healthy food. And it is very challenging that when the population is increasing day by day, it is very challenging to feed all the people of UP with nutritious and healthy foods. It will create the issue of malnutrition. Okay, now we can put it these type of facts. Okay, next you can say that food and nutrition, energy resources, water resources, agricultural resources, all these are challenging. Okay, now the next part is governance. So in the next part of the question is governance. Governance is hampering, like if the UP have humongous population, then it is not possible to provide, it is not possible to provide each and every people security. It is not possible. In reality, it is not possible to provide each and every person security. It is not really possible to provide all the you can say that all the educational facilities to all the peoples, because the ratio of teacher and students are huge gap between ratio of teacher and student. Now it is 1:1000. Third thing is, it is not possible to provide all the people of UP, to the health coverage under the scheme of Ayushman card health coverage. It is not possible, and the ratio between patient and doctor is also more than 1:1000, and that's why, despite of all the efforts which putting by the government is insufficient, seeing insufficient at the ground level, because we have the humongous population. Third one is urban governance, or the fourth one is urban governance. Despite of all the efforts led by the government, there is a huge issue of noise pollution. There is a huge issue of waste management, poor waste management. Despite of all the management, day by day, each passing day, the number of slums area is increasing around the urban cities like Lucknow, Prayagraj, Noida, Ghaziabad. It increasing. Next one is, you can say that it cannot provide the security, and that's why the cases of human trafficking, the cases like raping, the cases like traffic management is increasing. Okay, next one is infrastructure. The next one is infrastructure, because we all know that despite of all the efforts which are putting forward by the government on the infrastructural development of rail, road and highways and airports, but it is insufficient as compared to the population. Okay, now the administrative burdens, because we all know that we have the humongous population. That's why the workload which you can say that on the shoulder of administrative body is too much, and that's why the administrative bodies are bad performing because of the population. ओके, अब इसके लिए क्या है, ये सारी चीजें हमने बता दी। अब कंक्लूजन में क्या लिख सकते हैं? वी कैन नॉट, वी despite of all the challenges, despite of despite of all the challenges, all the challenges, we cannot accept that this is only the problem because of huge population. We have to modernize the techniques in agriculture. In you can say that in vertical householding, like Dubai, in pushing and taking the efforts towards renewable energy, to overcome of the impact of huge population. सो हम क्या कर सकते हैं, बता सकते हैं कि भाई ऐसा नहीं है कि पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ होने की वजह से ही ये समस्याएं हैं। बहुत सारे कंट्रीज और स्टेट्स में पॉपुलेशन कम है फिर भी ये इशू है। तो हाउ वी कैन कॉम्बैक्ट, हाउ वी कैन प्रिवेंट, हाउ वी कैन नॉट ओवरली प्रायोरिटाइज और ओवरली यू कैन से दैट प्रेजेंटिंग कि भाई हमारे पास ये इशू है बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रीजन। तो उसके लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा, कॉन्स्टेंटली वी हैव टू पुटिंग एफर्ट्स ऑन द वेरियस फील्ड, इन द फील्ड ऑफ हेल्थ, in the field of education, in the field of governance, with the modern techniques, with the use of AI, with the use of, you can say that, the GPS system, with the use of new variety of seeds which are producing a lot of amount of grains in a very small size of land. Okay, thank you. We are moving to the next question. Evaluate the impact of commercialization of agriculture. Evaluate the impact of commercialization. Evaluate the impact of commercialization of agriculture on the small and marginal farmers in उत्तर प्रदेश। क्वेश्चन क्या कह रहा है, उत्तर प्रदेश में लघु एवं सीमांत किसानों पर कृषि के वाणिज्यीकरण के प्रभाव का मूल्यांकन कीजिए। इवैल्यूएट कीजिए कि हम impact of commercialization on agriculture on small and marginal farmers of in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, now how we can approach this question? Firstly, we have to identify the demand of the question. We have to identify what is the demand of the question. What is the demand of the question? Demand of the question. Because firstly, we have to break down the question and also achieving the whole sense of the question, or you can say that the find out the main soul of the question. Main soul of the question क्या है? You have to a basic understanding about the commercialization of agriculture. commercialization of agriculture. You have to basic understanding about the commercialization of agriculture. The second one is how it will impact, how it will impact, the small and marginal farmers. So you have to understanding about the definition of a small and marginal farmers. You have to understanding about the commercialization of agriculture and how it will impact. It means this question against demand connectivity. This question against demands connectivity. क्या कह रहा है? कह रहा है कि बताओ हमको, क्या बताओ भाई क्वेश्चन में, देखो एक बार फिर से क्वेश्चन पढ़ेंगे हम लोग. क्वेश्चन कह रहा है कि बताओ उत्तर प्रदेश में लघु और सीमांत किसानों पर कृषि के वाणिज्यीकरण के प्रभाव का मूल्यांकन करो. हियर देयर इज अ टेल वर्ड विच टॉक्स अबाउट द इवैल्यूएशन. इवैल्यूएट करना है, बताना है कि भाई सही बात है कि नहीं. तो आप कैसे कह सकते हो, कैसे इसका इंट्रो लिख सकते हो? हाउ वी कैन अप्रोच द कॉमर्शलाइजेशन ऑफ commercialization of agriculture is a great shift from traditionally subsistence practice of agriculture towards modern income centric or market oriented approach. क्या कह रहे हैं? कॉमर्शलाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर इज अ ग्रेट फ्रॉम द ट्रेडिशनल great shift from traditional subsistence practice of agriculture towards modern income centric or market oriented approach, which will help farmers to generate more income and become self-sufficient in the society to manage their problems. क्या करना है भाई कि अगर ये हो जाएगा, कॉमर्शलाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर हो जाएगा, तो जो फार्मर है वो सेल्फ सफिशिएंट होगा सोसाइटी में टू मैनेज देयर प्रॉब्लम्स. दे आर नॉट ओवर डिपेंडेंट ऑन द गवर्नमेंट एज वेल एज द मिडिल मैन्स. ओके, नाउ हाउ द क्वेश्चन इज हाउ commercialization of agriculture will impact the small and marginal farmers. Before we are going to talk about what is the impact of commercialization in agriculture, just I want to tell you in very short what is the commercialization of agriculture. When the agriculture is focusing, when the agriculture or the farmers is focusing on cash crops, and this is called commercialization of agriculture. When the farmer is too much focusing on fruits, vegetables, horticulture, floricultures, and generate more and more income, and you can say that shifting from the traditional or subsistence economy towards more focusing the market oriented approach of income, and it will increase, and it will focusing on the cash crop like the mm, production of potato, production of sugarcane, production of, you can say that, the horticulture, vegetables, fruits, etc. So this is called commercialization of agriculture, and how it will impact. So now we are going to discuss how it will impact in the small and marginal farmers. One thing I want to add here, I will presume that whatever the watchers or the students, whatever they are watching, and they will be watching the video, you have to idea about what is small and marginal farmers and what is the criteria. I presume that. Okay, now because this you can see that the program have their on limits. Okay, now how it will impact, how it will impact. The first thing that it will provide more profit. It will provide more profit to the farmers which have more land. more land का मतलब क्या है, लार्जर फार्मर हैं, विच हैव मोर लैंड. लाइक हम ये कह सकते हैं कि इसमें जो है लार्जर और मीडियम फार्मर्स को मोर बेनिफिट होगा एज कंपेयर टू दोज हु हैव लेस लैंड, लाइक स्मॉल एंड मार्जिनलाइज, बिकॉज दे हैव लेस लैंड. दूसरा क्या हो सकता है, it will more costly initially. It will more costly. It will more costly because it is investment oriented एग्रीकल्चर. इन्वेस्टमेंट ओरिएंटेड एग्रीकल्चर है, ठीक ना. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, हाई इनपुट कॉस्ट लगेगा. वाई, इट डिमांड्स हाइब्रिड सीड्स, इट डिमांड्स हाइब्रिड सीड्स, इट डिमांड्स फर्टिलाइजर्स, इट डिमांड्स पेस्टिसाइड्स, it demands hybrid weeds, fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides. तो ये इस तरह की डिमांडिंग है. दूसरा चीज क्या हो सकता है, it demands more and more modernize irrigation facility, more and more modernize irrigation facilities. Like what? Irrigational facilities like the drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, and which is not possible for the small and marginalized farmer to maintain, or to, you can say that, self-sufficient. They are not self-sufficient, or they are not self-capable to acquire these facilities. Third one is, it is the price of commercial crops is fluctuating, and that's why sometime it will hampering and it will very dangerous for the small and marginal farmers to maintain their income vitality, or you can say that the income mobility or income fluctuation with the market demand. क्या होगा भाई, कभी कभी जो ये सब कॉमर्शियल क्रॉप्स होते हैं इनका वैल्यू जो है, इनका मार्केट प्राइस है वो फ्लक्चुएट होता है. अब फ्लक्चुएट हो रहा है, जो फार्मर मार्जिनल और स्मॉल फार्मर्स है वो क्या करेगा, उस फ्लक्चुएशन ऑफ प्राइस को सह नहीं सकता, उसकी सर्वाइविलिटी बहुत कम होती है, एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट विल हैम्पर द प्राइस ऑफ commercialization of agriculture. The price of commercial crops is highly fluctuating, and that's why the farmers, the small and marginal farmers have the lacking of bargaining capacity, and because of this reason they are selling their products at base price thing, and which will very less, and further it will not fruitful for the small and marginal farmers. Next क्या होगा, because of commercialization of agriculture there is a shifting a focus from crop like wheat and rice. It will create a kind of challenge because it is a staple food of UP. So commercialization of agriculture, it will also impacting and threatening, and it will displacement for the food crops like wheat, rice and sugarcane, because the people's wanting more and more income, and because the commercialization of agriculture is market oriented approach, and that's why it will hampering. The next one is it will also hampering, it will also create environmental cause like land degradation. So it will also impact on land degradation like soil degradation, water pollution, because it demands hybrid seeds, it demands more fertilizers, it demands more chemical pesticides. तो इसकी वजह से क्या होगा, it will further lead to the soil degradation, water pollution, and it will also disturb the ecology of the land. And this is all about the how it will impact the small and marginal farmers. Next, it will create inequality. It will create inequality. It will create inequality amongst the farmers. Inequality का मतलब क्या होता है भाई, because large and medium farmers become more stronger and become more, you can say that, income oriented as compared to small and marginal farmers. ठीक, तो इसका large और medium farmer ज़्यादा फायदा ले पाएंगे और small and marginalized कम. Now there are some positive aspects of this as well. What is the positive aspect? क्या है पॉजिटिव एस्पेक्ट इसका? तो पॉजिटिव एस्पेक्ट में हम बोल सकते हैं कि इट गिव अस द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू इंक्रीज इनकम. तो क्या है, इनकम अपॉर्चुनिटी. इनकम अपॉर्चुनिटी, इट प्रोवाइड्स अ इनकम अपॉर्चुनिटी. नेक्स्ट क्या है, इट ऑल्सो प्रोवाइड अ एक्सेस ऑफ मार्केट. Access of market. It also moves the farmer's tendency from subsistence towards market oriented. मार्केट ओरिएंटेड. और क्या हो सकता है? इट विल बेनिफिशियल फॉर दोज एरियाज विच आर फेसिंग क्राइसिस ऑफ वाटर लाइक बुंदेलखंड. बुंदेलखंड. The next one is it will also beneficial for the crop diversification. Crop diversification. So ये पूरा आपका अप्रोच हुआ इस क्वेश्चन को लेकर के. फिर भी आप बोल सकते हैं कि however all the challenges as well as inequality, the commercialization of agriculture is a good step towards the self to become farmers to self reliance and self capable to tackle all these problems. Okay, we are moving further to proceed next question of the paper, test paper 18 of the UP special. Discuss how the new forest policy address the challenge of deforestation and biodiversity loss. क्या कह रहा है भाई? नई वन नीति वनों की कटाई और जैव विविधता की हानि की चुनौतियों को कैसे संबोधित करती है, इस पर चर्चा कीजिए. डिस्कस इज द टेल वर्ड. हाउ वी कैन अप्रोच दिस क्वेश्चन? हाउ वी कैन अप्रोच दिस क्वेश्चन? Firstly, we are going to find out the basic demand of the question. What is the basic demand of the question? Basic demand of the question is to understand the UP's new forest policy, UP's new forest policy of 2017, which will update in 2023, how this policy became sufficient or efficient to protect biodiversity as well as the deforestation. Again, this question is saying that how the new forest policy address the challenges of deforestation and biodiversity loss. बताओ भैया कि कैसे ये पॉलिसी जो है वो एड्रेस करती है द इश्यू ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी लॉस एंड डिफॉरेस्टेशन. ओके, देन दिस क्वेश्चन इज अगेन डिमांड कनेक्टिविटी. अब कनेक्टिविटी कैसे डिमांड कर रहा है भाई? कनेक्टिविटी ऐसे डिमांड कर रहा है कि बताओ कि न्यू फॉरेस्ट पॉलिसी कैसे इस इशू को एड्रेस कर रही है. तो क्या लिख सकते हैं भाई इसमें? हम लोग कैसे अप्रोच कर सकते हैं इस क्वेश्चन को? व्हाट विल बी द इंट्रो ऑफ दिस क्वेश्चन? वी कैन से दैट द न्यू फॉरेस्ट पॉलिसी of UP 2017 is enough focusing on the issue of biodiversity loss, land degradation and the issue of deforestation in UP. तो क्या बोल सकते हैं, द न्यू फॉरेस्ट पॉलिसी ऑफ यूपी 2070 is enough focusing on the issues of biodiversity loss and land degradation and the issue of deforestation in UP. What are the key challenges? What are the key challenges? There are three key challenges in UP regarding the forest management. One is there is a heavy loss of biodiversity, heavy loss of biodiversity. The second one is there is a land degradation and deforestation. यही issue है. So how the new forest policy became the sufficient to ensure the biodiversity protection as well as to procure the land degradation. Okay, now the policy objective to address the challenges. What are the policy objective? Now we are going to discuss the policy objectives which are self-reliant to address the issue. क्या है भाई, पहले क्या कह रहा है ये पॉलिसी, इकोलॉजिकल सिक्योरिटी ओवर द कॉमर्शियल यूज. इकोलॉजिकल सिक्योरिटी ओवर द कॉमर्शियल यूज. क्या किया हमने, इकोलॉजिकल सिक्योरिटी को प्रेफरेंस दिया है ओवर द commercial use. It means our focus of shift for the forest governance from the timber production or the ecological benefits towards the ecological services, which includes soil conservation, which includes water conservation, and which includes habitat preservation over the commercial use. क्या कर रहे हैं हम भाई, we are more focusing on the soil conservation, we are more focusing on the habitat preservation, we are more focusing on water conservation. Okay, now the next part is conservation of biodiversity. The second one is this policy is focusing on conservation of biodiversity. How? This policy is focusing on this policy is enough focusing on protecting the rare endangered species and the native species. It also, this policy is focusing on restoring degraded ecosystem, restoring the degraded ecosystem like wetlands, grasslands, riverine forest, increasing. अब देखो भाई यहाँ पे this policy is encouraging, this policy is encouraging XC2 plus in situ conservation, in situ conservation. Okay, now this policy is increasing XC2 and in situ conservation. This policy is also focusing on restoration on restoration of land degradation or the habitat loss like wetlands, as earlier I have to mention wetlands, grasslands, ponds, and the small ecological systems. Next, this policy is enough focusing on afforestation and deforestation. Sorry, afforestation and reforestation. This policy is enough focusing on afforestation and reforestation. I will be presuming that you have the enough capability to understand what is the meaning of afforestation and what is the meaning of reforestation. Okay, now this policy is aiming to at least convert 33% of the land of state is covering by the afforestation. Okay, prioritizing the this policy is also prioritizing the native species. This policy is also promoting the scheme like green UP. Okay, where we will aiming to achieve more than planting 33 crore plants. Okay, now this policy is focusing on community participation. Community participation, it means local involvement. लोकल इन्वॉल्वमेंट क्या कर रहे हैं, जैसे थारू ट्राइब को हमने दुधवा नेशनल पार्क में एक अथॉरिटेटिव स्टेज और स्टैंडर्ड पर रख दिया है. लोकल पार्टिसिपेशन एंड दिस पॉलिसी इज फोकसिंग ऑन मास एजुकेशन स्प्रेडिंग mass education on the topic of environmental sincerity. मास एजुकेशन दे रहे हैं. नेक्स्ट क्या कर रहे हैं, दिस पॉलिसी ऑल्सो इंटीग्रेट्स integration of wildlife sanctuary as well as integration of wildlife policies with biodiversity policies. This policy is also providing enough base for the use of modern technology to monitor the encroachment or illegal trafficking of the animals for the commercial use. Next, it provides, this policy also provide intersectoral coordination amongst the responsible authority. ठीक, उसके साथ साथ क्या है कि अब इसमें क्या कर सकते हैं, जैसे हम यहाँ पर बता सकते हैं कि फॉरेस्ट पॉलिसी इंटीग्रेट्स विद एग्रीकल्चर, फॉरेस्ट पॉलिसी इंटीग्रेट विद द रूरल डेवलपमेंट, फॉरेस्ट पॉलिसी इंटीग्रेट विद द वाटर मैनेजमेंट अथॉरिटी और वाटर मैनेजमेंट. ठीक, इस तरह का कुछ हम बता सकते हैं. प्लस दिस पॉलिसी इज ऑल्सो providing the environmental impact assessment by each year. हम क्या करेंगे, environmental impact assessment करेंगे. ठीक, monitoring करेंगे. So now we can say that UP's, in the conclusion, UP's new forest policy is capable to address the current situation of biodiversity loss as well as deforestation. डिफॉरेस्टेशन। क्या बता सकते हैं? यूपीज न्यू फॉरेस्ट पॉलिसी इज कैपेबल टू एड्रेस द करेंट सिचुएशन ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी एज वेल एज डिफॉरेस्टेशन बाय इट्स implementation and time to time analyzing its annual प्रोग्रेस। ठीक, तो इस तरह के अप्रोच के साथ यू हैव टू एंड अप योर कन्वर्सेशन रिगार्डिंग दिस क्वेश्चन। ओके, थैंक यू।